Hello and welcome back to Retfurb. So on this video we're going to be working on this late 70s Sony separate system. The first thing we'll do is do a quick test to see what issues it has and then go from there. So let's get to the video. So now I'm just going to do a quick test on it and just see what's going on with the system.
Mana lean or seen or
Flour and eggs. What key ingredient am I missing from my pancake batter? Milk.
So as you can see, overall it works pretty well. Most of the units are, working as they should. There's a bit of an issue with the tape player, as you can see, which is probably just the belt. So what I'm going to do is go through each separate system, open them up, give them a good clean, service any of the potentiometers, and then we'll get inside the tape deck and see what's going on there as well. So first thing I'm going to start with is the ST-333L or 333L tuner. So I'm just going to give this a good clean. It doesn't really need much, to be honest. There's not a lot other than really cleaning it, wiping on the front, just making sure the controls and everything are clean, and that's it really. So nice quick one there. As you can see, I've already done that and now putting it back together. And now I'm just going to give the front a good clean, just make sure that any sort of dirt and grime over the years is on there, especially on the buttons, and just remove that. So the system is a TA-535 amp, an ST-333L tuner, and a TC-U30 tape deck. And it's from 1979-1980. So now moving on to the tape deck, you can see straight away I'm pointing out there that the tape sort of flap is not sort of flush like it should be. I say flush, it sticks out a little bit, but one side's sticking out more than the other. So I have to have a look at that and see if we can repair that as well. So now just removing the lid, getting inside. Again, I'm going to give this a good hoover out. You can see here I'm just looking at the belts and they are quite sort of loose, so these will need replacing. There is actually another one that's fallen out, which you'll see here, that I just pick up, which is broke, so no doubt that's the issue with what's causing the tape problem. So I'm going to try and do this without removing too much. So there's sort of some pieces at the back here, I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but it holds part of the motor on and part of the back of the tape mechanism. I should be able to get access to the belts and remove them without taking any more out. So you can see that's the main belt that's come out, and the other one's obviously already broken. So luckily I keep quite a few spares of belts which are of a similar size, so I'm just going through them, just checking and making sure I've got the right one, and then I can fit it. And you can see here I'm just trying to loop it in, so it is a little bit fiddly doing it like this, but it's better than taking the whole unit out and trying to do it separately. It would take you a lot longer. It's just a bit of patience required really, trying to get these belts back in place and over all the little pulleys. So the main belt is like a flat sort of belt, and then the other belt is like a square shaped belt, if that makes sense. Again, this one's a little bit fiddly trying to get it in, just using a screwdriver just to try and get it over some of the little pulleys. And that's the belts in, and you can see there I'm just making sure they're all working and moving okay. And now I'm just going to bolt those pieces back on the back of the mechanism. So again, this unit's in pretty good condition. It's not too dirty or dusty in behind. It's mainly just those belts which are the issue here. So I'll just go around and just put some de-oxit in the potentiometers. Just working it all rim round when you spray some de-oxit into the pots, and just working them, just making sure that it gets in and lubricates it and cleans it. And now putting the lid back on. So all these units have 3 screws either side that hold the lids onto the actual main frames. And just giving it a quick wipe down. So this isn't in immaculate condition, the top of the lid. Obviously where it's had the other parts put on top of it, it's marked it over the years. So now moving on to the tape deck flap, I've just removed that, and now I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that bit which is sticking out, and then push it back into place. So it actually did sort of snap back in when I did this, so I don't really think I needed to put the glue on there, but at least it's held it for the future. And now just going around cleaning up all the pieces on the front. So really with all of these units, they're mainly just dirty and just needed a good service really. Obviously besides the tape deck which needed the belts, but other than that it's just dirt and grime over the years where it hasn't been cleaned properly, and it makes a hell of a difference just going around giving it a good clean, as you can see here. And now onto the amplifier. So I'd give this a quick wipe off before I started, purely because it was quite dusty on top, and then just going around now to remove the lid. So this one just needs really a service and all the controls, potentiometers, a good hoover out, nothing else. There wasn't any sort of crackling or distortion or anything like that when I was using it. Now I did only have one of the speakers connected on one side. I did test and make sure both of them were working, but when I demoed it I only showed it on one side, so when I did the balance you'll notice that it went quiet when it went one way. But I did test it separately. I just for some reason on the video didn't record that. And exactly the same when I showed the demo at the end, I did exactly the same thing, so I'm not sure why that wasn't on here. And now just moving the bottom panel as well, so I can give that a clean up and wipe down and just get access inside the unit. So now I'm going to start removing the buttons. I need to get this front panel off so I can get into all the potentiometers. There's quite a lot of circuit boards in the way, so you can't actually get in there. So all this needs to come off, which is quite a few screws, and there's a couple of little nuts which hold the potentiometers onto the main front panel. And now there's a couple of small wiring that needs to be disconnected, nice and easy really. And now we can start unscrewing all the pieces onto the front panel. These have to come off so you can get that main frame piece out. Again, it's not really that difficult to do this, it's just quite time consuming going around undoing everything. So you can see on this there's quite a few bits to remove. I'm just carefully going around making sure that I've got everything disconnected so I can pull that panel off. So now it's all disconnected, all the parts are unscrewed, we can now pull that front frame piece away, and then you can get access inside and clean all the potentiometers. So again with this one I'm just going to spray some de-oxit in and then work it round and just make sure that it gets cleaned and lubricated at the same time. So now that that's done, we can now put it all back together. Now obviously it seems like quite a big job just to get in there and do that, but it's something that needs to be done sort of periodically to make sure that the system's working all okay and there's no sort of issues or any crackling or distortion or anything like that. And now just putting all the parts back on, which is just a reversal of what we did to remove all the front frame part. Now just giving the front panel a good clean inside around the glass area, just to make sure there's no sort of dirt where I've taken it off and sort of disturbed it, and then connecting those wiring parts back up. Just being careful when I slot this back in place. I did notice that I had that wire on my round, so I just to sort of reroute that, and then I can now put that piece back on and just make sure that I'm careful not to catch any of those wires at the same time, and then just bolting the front panel back on. And now just putting the lower cover back on and just screwing that back in place. And the lid can now go back on, which again, just 3 screws each side. So you can see this is now starting to come together. Now just giving it a good clean, the front panel again, which is just mainly sort of dirt over the years. And then we can move on to doing the buttons, exactly the same thing, just giving them a good clean as well. So it's surprising, like I said before, it's surprising what a difference it will make just giving it a good clean. Makes the system look so much better, so much nicer. You see at the beginning how sort of grubby the controls looked, and now doing this, just how good it looks. So now we can go on to do a quick demo of the system and just show it all working again.
It's Copenhagen 1.
So as you can see, the system came out really well. It's all working okay. There's no issues now with the tape. It's all playing fine. Fast forwarding, everything like that, there's no issues. No issue with any controls. So that's all been serviced. Obviously there was no sort of crackling or anything before, but now it's just giving it a good service and it will last for a long time again now. So yeah, really happy with how it's come out. It just goes to show again how a good clean can sort of transform a system and a good service. And obviously the belt change, which is nice and easy. So yeah, all done. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. It's really appreciated. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.